My wife and I were going to get a mortgage for our house, and the mortgage advisor was showing us all the different rates on his laptop, and then he pressed a button and turned his laptop around and showed us what looked like a very interesting trailer for a bank, but actually it turned out to be a trailer for a video game called Heavenly Sword. And he said, my brother is a games developer and he'd really like to get in touch with you, will you give him a ring? So I then came on board in the sort of early stages of the story design and got involved with the script and the character developments. Primarily what I was there to do was to take the actors, once we'd cast them, and bring them into the world of Heavenly Sword, the characters, and then take them through the motion capture process. CG, or motion capture rather, was being evolved during Lord of the Rings and King Kong, and obviously lots of other artists are involved in that. I just happened to have played a couple of roles which were quite high profile. The actual technical shift going from an actor in a bare space to putting on a motion capture suit and acting in a motion capture environment is it's a little step really. Once you understand how your performance is calibrated to the digital creation, digital manifestation that you're playing, once you kind of understand the notion of you puppeteering that, then actually it's no different really to playing a conventional character in a film or on stage. I don't see myself as being any kind of authority. I just happen to have been around at a time where it was evolving.
We knew we wanted a female character as something different. We thought that was quite a strong avenue to go down. We also kind of delved into the story to extract bits of her personality. The fiery red hair is quite appropriate because she was born in the year of the fire horse, so she's quite a strong, stoic character. I actually had the opportunity to model both Kai and Noriko, which was just brilliant fun. They're both quite different physical characters in the way that they look, so it was two totally different approaches for both of those models. It was great with Kai because there's so much to work with. Her character really comes through in the model, and we tried to get all her cat-like qualities in her base pose so that hopefully that would kind of filter through to the later stages and filter through to her movement. We've got quite a variety of bad guys, and they progress from the basic swordsman right the way through our boss characters like the gladiator general. All the generals actually are quite diverse and bring really different elements to the games. They've all got very strong characters, and I think a lot of that comes through in the cutscenes and the performance capture. We have a specialist character artist on board who worked with the actors and took elements of their facial scans and added those to the models that we'd already sort of built up. So every time we do things like that, it's adding another layer to the characters and their personalities.
When we first started Heavenly Sword, we always knew we were going to do a third-person action-adventure combat game. The combat system is really an expression of the player, and it's just a tool set for the player to use in the game. The real difficulties with so many opponents is really controlling the enemies themselves. It's very hard to gauge how much structure you actually need to place in the enemies to provide a decent gaming experience, and actually staging the fights in such a way where we can deliver the gameplay in a playable sense and a meaningful sense and in a fun way. That's the biggest challenge really. The core feature of our combat system is the 3 stances that the Heavenly Sword can take. The standard stance, what we call the speed stance, is a twin sword stance where the player is very fast and very agile and can block very fast attacks. The second stance, if the player holds down R1, is the power stance. This is a much more slow and powerful stance, but in this stance the player can block automatically the more powerful attacks of the enemies. And the third stance is what we call the range stance, where the swords drop onto chains, and it's quite a fast stance, but it allows you greater coverage and multiple character combat. You're able to hit multiple people at the same time, but the problem with this stance is you can't block at all. Trying to tune and produce a combat system which responds in a way that the player would expect it to do and do what the player needs it to do in the situations that they need is a bit of a balancing act.